Daniel, for the good introductions. My next step is to go to the stage to the participants, to the panel. And instead of just bringing her by their name, I will invite them by their initiative and this final name. So the first one, it will be the DOM initiative, which is Distributed Open Market for Europe, which is in charge of building a distributed marketplace to enable cooperation and exchange among European cloud providers. Please welcome Giuseppe Caficio for engineering and the DOM Foundation. The next one will be for another, I would say it's more a company than an initiative, isn't it, Mauro? It's a good one. We will get good feedback from them. It's Dynamo Cloud, and Dynamo Cloud enables a European alternative by providing federated interoperable framework to deliver cloud services. Mario Brambilla, the CEO. Welcome. And now we have Fulcrum. Fulcrum, they are offering a federated cloud solution specifically designed for small and medium enterprises. Leonardo Camiciotti, which is also the CEO for Top IX and the president for Fulcrum. Welcome. And finally, the last but not the least, as was always said, we have ECOFET, where they are developing the technical and regulatory framework for an open, interoperable European cloud ecosystem that ensures GDPR compliance and data sovereignty. It is like use for ECOFET. Welcome. Welcome everyone. As you see, they are coming for very relevant initiatives. And the idea today will be to try to see how, let's say, the federated cloud infrastructures could be the key to a true digital economy. So, without further delay, we will just go to the questions. The idea is there will be a small debate, but also we will try to convince you that this is the way forward. And first thing is, this is working? Yeah. Come on. Now, okay. Yeah, we got it. So in order just to make it easier, you will have the questions that I will make. So you will see in live what I will just question them and what will be the answers. So let's start by what could be the European vision for the perspective. And first, I will make a question that will be for all of you. And Leonardo, you will have the opportunity to be the first one to answer the question, which in fact is what does European digital autonomy means to you? It is a realistic goal or more like an aspirational one?
So good afternoon, everyone. So thanks for inviting me here. Yeah, definitely is a realistic one. Though, of course, I mean, at least to me, autonomy does not relate to a geographical or political concept. I mean, it easily then translates into something which is protectionist or in an isolated perspective model. While I think that there has to be the client has autonomy in terms of capability to do things. Okay, so capability to access, use, merge working technologies, and working technologies to me are open, interoperable, innovative, and the possibility to use that to generate market value. So this makes sense, the autonomy, if it translates into a business opportunity, while if it's just building walls and to protect for something or for someone, this becomes a prison, and it prevents by design the possibility to expand and to export something, okay? Because the notion is that we have to protect from someone, from barbarians at the gate, while it's not the case, okay? So, this must be based on some pillars to me. So is not the freedom from someone, but it's the freedom to do something. Okay. So the first thing is to get a grip on technology. So we have to start again to do technologies, to develop code, to develop software, to develop real infrastructure. I mean, taking a bit away the accent from policies, regulation, top-down approach, prescription, how to do things, big plans, long time horizons. I mean, do things. That's why we are seeing since tomorrow that market share is declining, because we are too very much engaged in defining the next cabinet, panel, forum where we discuss things and we don't do things. And unfortunately, it's less and less the case where you can afford to spend time talking and not doing. So technology is the first thing. The very big grip is on technology, doing things. And the other one is the willingness to go to market. So to test the market value of things and to produce value in the market. So that means that you have both sides, so the supply side and the demand side that need to get this autonomy to do things. So the providers, and definitely in Europe we don't lack talent or innovation. You have a lot of, especially cloud providers, that are capable to offer services which are at least comparable in quality, sometimes better to some extent, to the hyperscalers, but we miss the scale, okay, the visibility, and the breadth of portfolio. So the freedom from them and the autonomy would come from collaboration. And to me, the scale does not equal size. So it's not scalable if you're a big giant. It can come, and it should come in Europe, in my opinion, through collaboration and interoperability, okay? So it's not compliance or scale first, but it's collaboration first. And to this extent, on the other side, so the reflection on the consumer, the final customer side, should be the freedom to choose what providers or what solution to engage, not be forced by lock-in, but have the ease to choose based on your needs, on the application-specific needs, and to have innovative solution for that. So this is what we have been addressed in Fulcrum, by the way. We'll have the time to discuss it later on. Yeah. So aiming at the federation model, which is the only way out for Europe. You cannot, I mean, the ship for building a big cloud provider has sailed a long time ago and is very far in the ocean and probably over the other side of the ocean. So we have to collaborate and really build a network and a cloud federation that is able to absorb shocks, respond to demand, and being flexible, by the way, being very suitable for what is it's not the horizon, it's already here. It's an agentic world where you have AI, which is very flexible, which goes and does things in a modular way. So the underlying infrastructure should be as modular as the guys who are upstairs. And I think that the federation is the good answer. Then I will go deeper into the Fulcrum architecture later on.
Thank you, Leonardo. I don't know if we have anything, Eric. Can you just add? Or he has already just said everything. He talked about federation, cooperation, just time for action. So,
does it? Yeah, my microphone works. Yeah, Leonardo said already a lot of good things. First of all, also thank you for being here and for the invitation for this interesting panel with very relevant topics. So answering the question, what does European digital autonomy mean to me? I would say that it would mean two things for me. It's one thing on getting control back again. And the other thing is also keeping in control, because once you got control, you also need to keep control. And it might sound that digital autonomy is maybe yes or a no answer, but I think it requires some nuance in that, is that it will be, I think, a gradual path to get there. We can't be fully digital sovereign at once. That will take some time, and it will gradually grow towards that. But it's not realistic to say that we'll be in full control of the full digital stack tomorrow. That will take some time. I think so. Getting in control will be a gradual path, and after that, we'll have to be careful that we'll also stay in control once we've reached that.
Agree. So, Mauro, I think you have a very good perspective on how will be this federation thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to be here. I try to take some hints on what you said before. I agree with both of you, but I also say that In my point of view, autonomy means trust. That means being in the position to take informed decisions, okay? Because at the end, if someone have the right information, could take the right decision, and could be in control on what is buying or is delivering or is building. Furthermore, I slightly disagree with Leonardo about the regulation, because I think that one problem we have in Europe is the over-regulating way we are dealing with some stuff. But on the other hand, we have some very good regulation, such as the privacy one, such as also the AI Act, Data Act, in terms of trying to put again the human being at the center of everything, you know? That is a peculiarity we have in Europe. Having said that, of course, Eurostack could be a nice to have in 20 years, because you can start from little things. I agree that we have several opportunities and several technologies and startups here in Europe. The problem is we were discussing during the lunch break. Let's start not focusing only on one project, but like the venture capitals, try to give the opportunity to several companies to run, and the one who is running best, he will take the lead, you know? So this is my point of view on top of that.
Okay, and now, Pepe, you will have the two all together. So your perspective on the digital autonomy, the first one, and then just continue addressing the second question.
Yeah, let me go for the first one. Thank you for having me, first of all. But they have said almost everything. Basically, we can see digital autonomy in several ways. One is the technology basis, and we know that in Europe we have a gap in terms of ownership of the technology. Most of our IT digital stuff are based on something that is coming from outside Europe in terms of technology, in terms of distribution, evolution, and adoption from the European entities. But in order to fix this gap, we need time, investment, and potentially this is something that is going too far in terms of timing. So right now, I totally agree that having a framework that is able to deal with some, let me say, lack of ownership of the baseline technology, but with the capability to have the control of what the technology is doing, is a first step to start building. And we need to start building now. There is another aspect that I see in terms of need, in terms of to create a real digital autonomy. And this, in my opinion, of course, I have a different focus than my colleagues do, the scope of the initiative I'm leading, but is about the go-to-market way. I don't know if you take a look on how foreign companies are approaching the market and how European companies are approaching the market. It's already known that the European market is something fragmented, that most of the companies are working on a local basis, not in a global approach, or still neither European-wise. 90% of the business of the European companies is made in the home country right now. And this is creating the gap, also in terms of visibility of the offering. So in order to have a more relevant presence of the European solutions, because we have, as Leonardo correctly said, we have plenty of solutions in Europe, but they are not known outside the boundaries of the home country. And this is reality. This is simple. This can be seen everywhere. I do believe that all of you can describe the companies that in your country are selling different kind of services, from infrastructure to software as a service or platform or something else, for smart cities, for smart agriculture and everything else, including AI and blah, blah, blah. But I want to challenge you. How many of you knows if there's something in Greek or in, I don't know, in Netherlands, for the ones that are not from Netherlands, okay, or from Italy, okay? This is what is the current situation in Europe. We are the first ones that are not creating an European market. This is what it is, at least this is what I see. And if we are not we are the first not looking for opportunities, we can just blame ourselves because we are not doing this. This is, in my opinion, one strategic mistake that European companies are currently putting in their strategy. I don't know if you feel the same from this point of view. Then, of course, we have the technology gap that is starting from the hardware capability, because we have a lot of relevant companies producing chips, but not for computational. We are not CPU providers. We have no GPU providers as well. We have big companies like Ericsson, Siemens, and many others that are providing new chip. I do believe that the IoT market is filled by European producers. There are a lot of companies producing electronics in Europe, but no one going for computational, actually, with a real credible market. And this is a gap that is not going to be fixed in 2 years. This is something that is a long time, like my colleague have already said. So we need to deal with this, with the reality of the things, in order to have the, let me say, total technology autonomy. It will take time. I don't know what the path can be, because this is a matter of huge investment, potentially also to have companies that are convinced in approaching new market, because as we said, this is not covered. But in the meantime, we can do something else that while keeping, let me say, a gap on the baseline technology, can anyway reach autonomy, where autonomy is not everything built by me, but it's something that I can control. And this is what we can achieve. How can a European marketplace balance competition and interoperability?
I guess you have already answered it.
In some time I already answered. I don't know if I've already answered. A marketplace, we're touching two different relevant words. One is competition. Competition is the baseline for the market. Any company is competing every day on the market. Doesn't matter if they are on a marketplace or somewhere else. But the marketplace is a way to make the offering from that company visible to a customer base. Is a way to address the sales channel, to improve the opportunities. This is not, this is not, let me say, saving competition by itself, okay? But at least is increasing the opportunities, and increasing the opportunities is already a better way to compete. And this is the first topic. What about interoperability? Directly, basically nothing. If we are not sustaining, providing functionality to interoperate. But indirectly, having visibility about the existing solution for interoperability and giving visibility through the marketplace about the potential of integration, of interoperate, of the different solution with something else that is known in the catalog, is giving the market the visibility about which solution can be interoperable with something else. And giving the solution provider the capability to understand with other companies they can deal to create something new because they are interoperable. Okay, it's a matter of visibility, and visibility is the starting point to design solution.
Thank you, Pepe. We need to move a little bit faster. And Eric, to finish the first European vision, to talk a little bit about the European technical framework before we move to the next one.
Yeah, shall I tell something concretely about the EcoFed project? I think it's good that I first introduce a little bit on what EcoFed project is. It's one of the Dutch IPSAI projects that participates in the IPSAI SIS program. It's a Dutch consortium project made out of different cloud service providers, Internet Exchange. Two of the cloud service providers are also here today, BIT and InfoSupport over there. So two participating cloud service providers in a cloud federation project, because the abbreviation EcoFed is the abbreviation for European Cloud Federation. This is a project which has been now more or less 2 years underway since the start of the IPSAI, and with the partners on board, we are actually already a small cloud ecosystem with internet exchanges, with different cloud service providers, with different technology stacks, with different business models. But in the end, they want to create a bigger offering together. So that's what we are trying to aim with a federated cloud. And because the IPSAI SIS program in itself is supposed to be beyond state of the art, and we also had a lot of fundamental discussions on what kind of approaches could you have to cloud federation. There are different federation models, but we're more centralized, more decentralized. In the end, we came to an approach where we see that federation could work with some decentralized components, especially at cloud service provider level, but also some centralized components. There's the nice view again. So we see, for example, some central roles for an orchestrator that decides which workload can land on which cloud service provider. There, of course, can be multiple orchestrators. In the end, and the offerings of the cloud service provider also needs to land in a marketplace, in Dome, for example. And so we're also looking from the EcoFed project to connect with Dome. We're not going to develop a marketplace ourselves if there's such a nice project as Dome. So we're hoping to also align those two projects together in the end. Let me keep it to that. Yeah.
We need to move to the next one. Okay, so
what's the next? Yeah. Doesn't work. Okay.
So I need to press it 5. Okay, we will move a little bit fast because we have been asked to reduce the time, and I would like just to focus on the last one, which is to talk about the future, how we foresee about the future. So Mauro, the first one is for you. This is a little bit what you do. In fact, when you integrate multiple providers to offer unified solutions, maybe you would like just to talk a little bit about that. So the thing is, how do you ensure interoperability and customer's experience without creating a new locking challenge?
Yeah, thank you. Let me briefly introduce what is Dynamo for who doesn't know us. We are a federated marketplace, European based, and we are creating an ecosystem of federated cloud service provider. That means anyone in Europe that could be a IaaS, PaaS, or SaaS provider. Having said that, we think that the federation, like my colleagues were speaking before, is the only answer to the hyperscaler. We are not opposite to hyperscaler, but we need to create an ecosystem where even small companies within Europe could be relevant into our services within Europe. So we have spoken about interoperability a lot, but mainly interoperability is, we think about interoperability only in the technical part, okay, in the technical layer. But there is not only the technical one. There is the semantic one, there is the governance one, the business one, and the legal one, okay? So in Dynamo, we started from the business one, and we cover all the aspects. So there is interoperability in terms of technical layer, where we are able to manage the cloud service, manage a platform or our CSPs. That means that when a final client buys something, there is the instantiation of the virtual machine or whatever you have taken from one of the service provider that is belonging to us. We have created a unique legal framework in order to have the right liability. We have created, using Gaia X digital clearinghouse, the semantic way in order to use verifiable credential, machine readable, in order to describe the same services in the same way for everyone. And from the business point of view, of course, there is all the order to cash process that is fully managed by us. And also, initiative like Dome, like Fulcrum, could be, we could be an ecosystem of ecosystems, you know, because at the end of the day is what we need to do in order to avoid lock-in. And also, we have created a project named SECA API, that means Sovereign European Cloud API Architecture, within Aruba, Ionos, and Dynamo. It's an open source project. It's open. There is an open call. Anyone can contribute, with the aim to create from the market side, without waiting for CIS, whatever, because anything that will be produced by all these European projects, it will be more than welcome to be adopted in our infrastructure, okay? But meanwhile, we are trying to create a commercial, so bottom up and up to down, initiative to avoid lock-in and create interoperability, even though from the API point of view.
Thanks, Mauro. And this links very well with the question for Leonardo, because you focus on the SMEs. You know, the SMEs are the backbone of the European community. And now, how can federated cloud solutions enhance the SMEs? How they can take advantage of these solutions? How they can benefit and scale up?
Yeah, taking care of the SMEs means that, coming to the regulation, of course, I'm not against the regulation, but indeed we have good regulation and we have enough. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So we have it and it's good, so that's enough. Taking care of the SMEs, I would change the perspective. So it's not that you make them available, but you engage them to create the federation. Okay, so they are the actors, the real players who wants to do that. And exactly, they know that they are excellent services, but they miss the scale, okay? Probably one of the last big success, I would say, worldwide in Europe has been the roaming thing, okay? So the thing that still works and has been exported, by the way. So that we have been thinking of something like, I'm very simplifying the thing, but as a cloud roaming, okay? So if you are a guy who is engaged by a big customer and he wants you to provide services at a capacity or at the geographical reach that you don't have, you can tap into third parties and have it delivered, keeping control of your customers and last commercial mile. So you create the capillarity in a commercial sense, and you tap into, let's say, you turn this fragmentation into a strength, okay? So, because you connect. So how did we do that it's to create a computing exchange market. So it's a place based on a core agent architecture. So you have this core, and the agent holds the different dialects of the cloud. Okay, you have the virtualized word like Proxmox. You might have some Kubernetes word like Schemagi and others that will come. So you don't leave anyone behind, or you don't aim at the next Esperanto for cloud, but you do with what you have there. You onboard them so that you go on a marketplace, they can find their peers, and on demand, when they need it, they can rent resources from them at need. By doing that, so by sharing and trading infrastructures, and of course you get value from that, and you keep the control of the customers, you also get access to the different marketplaces of the providers. So what happens is at the end, you have these possibilities to trade services also, so that you can enrich the portfolio of small providers in a very tailored way, okay? Because they know what they need for their customer base. So that creates the portfolio breadth and the market reach that you miss when compared to hyperscalers. And you can even complement them, because you know that the capillarity that the small, medium enterprise reach is not the capillarity that the hyperscalers will provide. So doing this, again, you get ready for what is the thing that you're seeing now, an agentic world for AI. We didn't mention yet the data spaces, which is the other bingo thing that we mentioned. But it's important, it's relevant if you think of an agentic world and an infrastructure that mirrors that application space. And that's what we are doing. So those guys, those SMEs will come very, very small or medium size, and they can become bigger through collaboration and being sure, because of course the trust framework, like the Gaia X ones, are an important part of it, being sure that what they buy there will be, let's say, compliant with the rules of the sector they belong to, okay? So you have the technical solutions to provide the trust framework, which is filled in with the compliance rules of the specific sector. So the services catalog will be compliant with some rules and can be applied with the certainty that they will be trustable, they will be efficient, they will be performing according to the needs of the final customer. So it's really a bottom-up approach. So again, I'm a bit skeptical after 20 years of declining market share of the top-down thing. So I don't want to mention the Eurostock thing, but again, the big plans are nice to tell, but then it's almost impossible to deliver in the time frame the market is requiring now. It's going at machine speed, so it cannot go at bureaucracy speed. Sorry, but it's important, but you, at least if you have that room where you talk, you also might have an action room where you act.
Thanks, Leonardo. In fact, as I was also coming from the SMEs, I know that regulations are good, but they always slow down your speed. And for the SMEs point of view, you need to move fast. And being said that, now we need to talk about the standards and regulations, and that's for Eric. You, sorry for that. How to could you just talk a little bit about European standards, the data compliance, and a little bit about the regulations, because nowadays we are also talking about data spaces, policy regulations, the specific of every.
Yeah. So the question is to answer from EcoFed perspective and how the European standards and the Data Act shape the design of a federated ecosystem. First of all, maybe good to remind that already the Data Act is active since September 12 this year, so it's already active regulation, which contains a lot of useful articles for change of the cloud market, because in the end, legislation might sound a little bit as extra burden, maybe as a sort of thing to issue fines or something, but in the end it's meant to change the market dynamics. So what it means for EcoFed is that it will help us realize our goals in switching from provider. And so there are multiple articles in the Data Act that go around switching of data processing services. So the legal term that the Data Act uses for cloud is data processing services in the Data Act, but actually it's connected to IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, but Data Act mentioned is data processing services. So I think it will help a lot in also enforcing a little bit towards coming to such a federated ecosystem. Like in the end also the telco market changed in that way. And the fact that I can take my phone number from a telco provider to another is something that's being enforced by law. It helps innovation. It helps creating different business models. So I'm also hoping on that effect on the cloud market.
Thank you. Finally, Bebe. I think that well, we still have time. So now I think you elaborate a little bit this before. How just a platform like a marketplace like DOM can help just to promote European cloud service providers from the hyperscalers.
You touch a couple of things in this question. One is about innovation. And innovation is not directly bound to hyperscalers. While hyperscalers are always seen as the more innovative platform providers, this is not real. Because if you have the capability to look at what some small provider is able to put on the market today, you will find something that is absolutely very interesting. The question is that they are promoting this much better than the others. And this is, as I already said, their first leverage to approach the market. How can we, through, let me say, the go-to-market approach, to boost this adoption and this innovation? First of all, those three guys are representing a different approach to the capability to integrate service between different providers to boost their capacity, okay? But then the boosted capacity need to be moved to the market, need to be visible on the market. We're talking each other because we want to create an integration between us. We are already working on this because while they are creating the platform to allow the boosting of the capacity, the marketplace is going to hopefully boost the capability to reach the customer base. And you need to achieve both of them in order to be successful on the market. Having the capability to see those small relevant proposals from small providers that, because we're talking about integration maybe at infrastructure level, this is what is usually think, but let's think also about AI algorithms, applications, and all that, the other stuff that is moving at the top level of the ISO chain. The increased visibility is boosting the adoption of innovative solutions on the market. Still, the matter is that I will start using something that is innovative when I know that it's existing, that it's working, that it's used somewhere. But if I don't have this visibility, I will not use it. This is the point. The creation of the point to highlight the offering from the different providers is a key to boost the adoption. Until we are not reaching this, those solutions will stay in the canteen, usually, okay? Nice to have it with a glass of wine, but not successful on the market, usually.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And now that we just put the foot on the ground, we need to move to the future. And so we have, well, 15 minutes, but I think this is very relevant. So let's try to see, at least I want from you a quick answer, but precise. I mean, just take the crystal ball. Now we are 5 or 10 years from now, and we think that the federated European cloud is a reality. Well, you might not agree, but let's see this is a reality, okay? So what are the barriers that we have now that they will prevent us from reaching this goal? Who would like to start? Mauro, okay.
Taking a look to the cloud market in Europe right now, it's funny to me because before Trump, no one was interested in such kind of discussion, okay? After Trump, we started the discussion, but then the CSPs, the biggest one, are having a very good market revenues because there are a lot of clients that are buying local CSPs. And the conversation we had in the past are dropping down because nowadays they are a little bit colder than a few months ago about federating because they are seeing in the short time that the revenues are going up. But to me, one big problem, a big barrier, is cultural. Because even in Italy, we lost several market domains because despite to being so small, and I prefer that you die one day before me, okay, instead of putting together and being strong, okay? So to me, the biggest barrier is culture, because there are, I don't want to say the names, but there are CSPs, European one, that are believing that they could be the European champion. Madness. First of all, the market doesn't want another big one, even though it's European, because it means lock-in, you know? Federation is the only way, to me. I think also to you, okay?
We agree on that.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is my point of view in terms of barriers, but I'm positive, okay? So, in 5 years, I think that we could succeed, but we need all together to push on this kind of stuff, you know, to change culturally. And also, I think that public policy play could accelerate, yes, because as I was told this morning, maybe pushing the 80-20, so nowadays in the public tenders is 80% the weight on the costs, despite to 20% on innovation and quality of the services themselves. Change it could create a real boost.
Thank you. Eric, I think that you are...
Can I complement a little bit to that things? On the question, what are the biggest remaining barriers?
You can just answer all of them. I mean, Mauro has already the last one.
Okay, no, but I was specifically wanted to comment on the biggest remaining barriers. Nice to see, of course, that we all agree that the only way forward is a way with federated clouds. What also comes with that, I think that looking at where the hyperscalers win it is also mainly about the ease of use and the ease of deployment, where you can, with a few push and buttons, you can have a full cloud infrastructure in a few minutes. So I think in Europe we can do this, the federated cloud. We have cloud capacity enough. Also, Manuel this morning said that the utilization rate is actually quite low, so there's still a lot to gain. We have a lot of capacity, only it's fragmented and it doesn't come together. Well, it should come together in the federated cloud, but that federated cloud should also have the same ease of use as the hyperscalers have. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we need to face.
Thank you. Leonardo, you're next.
Well, I'll mix the question. I think I risk to be annoying, but I think that if you believe that I also listened to Manuel this morning, okay, and I like the approach, but I disagree on some position. In the sense, if you believe federation is suited to as a solution for a fragmented market and players, you should foster that. So you have to reward interoperability and use interoperability as let's say, the way to reach scale and competitiveness compared to other solutions. While if you bet, I mean, you talk about SMEs, but then you bet on funding a handful of legacy players in the hope that will catch up, it won't happen. It's not happening. It's 20 years. It's not happening. It doesn't work. So if you want federation, you have to foster federation. Reward interoperability. Can SMEs participate in public procurement? No. Because if they don't federate and don't admit federation as a possibility to be engaged, this won't happen. Or like the IPCI, we are collaborating. IPCI is a great project, but again, is accessible to a certain category of companies. So you have to design innovation by having those companies deciding the strategy, the frameworks, the technologies. Will the SMEs be alive when this will be ready? Who does? No, we don't know. So you have to have a bottom-up approach. The bottom-up approach is difficult because you have to talk with a lot of tiny players and make the solution affordable, usable for them, so that they can onboard all the customers, SMEs, which are on the other side. So the low adoption of cloud is a consequence of design, because the small SMEs can be only targeted by small SMEs cloud providers, because the proximity matters, the language matters, the complexity of the solution that you propose matters. And that's why I say the capillarity that we need to engage the 75% of companies is not the one that the hyperscalers can provide. They don't want that. They would like to have a complement. We have seen the same pattern with broadband. The big incumbents could not reach the capillarity that we needed in order to provide broadband in the small, tiny valleys in all Europe. So that's what we have to, it's not a bet, it's a strategic decision. So this morning I heard about bets. We're not betting. Betting can be done in a casino and it's fine. You have to do strategic decision and decide where to invest. If you think the model is suitable for a certain market structure, and the European market structure is a fragmented one, so if you want to turn this fragmentation into a value, you have to bet on a federation. Bet means making a strategic decision in my head. So allocating funding and promote interoperability, reward of interoperability and collaboration, and not only sides or, let's say, track records, let me say.
And that does mean a little bit like the SMEs should be involved more in the definition or architectures of the Confederation. It's a little bit the message. It's one of the barriers, I would say.
Yeah, it's not involved in a forum. They cannot afford to come and talk and fill in forms and consultations. They don't have time to do that. They have to make the day every day. Yeah. So give them tools to use. Let people write code. Let people develop tools. That's what we are doing. Start bottom up means bottom up. So it's not done in meetings, strategic papers, white paper, position papers, whatever paper, whatever regulation. It's a lot of that. You need tools. You need something that you use, and that's where the hyperscaler get the advantage. They do things. They write code constantly. They buy startups constantly. So fund startups. Let a number of people take the risk, if you want to see it as a bet, to let a number of SMEs to play in the cloud market. And then by seeing, observing them working, you will see who are the champions. If you want to define upfront the champions, This is almost impossible. It's like in venture capital. You don't see it up front. You can select a bit, of course, but you cannot define by design the champion. It doesn't work. It's the market that determines that. And it's a sum of factors. So let the guys play. And let guys play means put and reward some characteristics for the small players and not only or always those of the big players, because that doesn't work. I mean, the big players, as we mean it, won't catch up. Those other guys are too big, too gigantic. So you have to change the paradigm. If you change the paradigm, probably you will have your own world. And that's the key of innovation. I mean, you don't go face to face. You try to go from the hidden angle. Yeah. That's the key to innovation. Okay, it's no to the every innovator's dilemma comes from there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Let me recall this cultural gap, because I feel that the cultural gap, they already touched many things that are absolutely true. Okay, I totally agree with them. But I believe that we have a cultural gap in the approach of the digital service, in the design of the digital service, in the development of the digital services. I'm still seeing that the way the European companies are trying to approach the market is not in line on the requirement of the market. We are still working like we were doing in the 80s. This is what it is. And 60 years have passed, but we are still approaching the market in the same way. This is what I see. This is what I see. I don't know what you see, but there's a matter of change the approach of the go-to-market. I'm totally agree with them. We need to approach this through the federation in order to face all the capacity gaps. Okay, but we also need to change the mindset on how to sell digital services, how to propose the digital services, because there's something that is currently not working. Simplification. Here we're talking about simplification. This is a key. Can list me how many providers you know that are addressing the retail market in Europe? Cloud providers. Is there somebody that can list me some European company addressing the retail market? Or the retail market is just left to the hyperscalers? Do you know how much business is creating the retail market on the cloud right now? It's huge. Let me just say that, okay? But in Europe, apparently, we're not doing this. We're just approaching the enterprise market, basically. And this is the focus that we are, because we want more money from few customers, because this is simple in theory. But if you take a normal business analysis on that, you will have much more maintenance costs, because we have different solutions for different customers to be maintained. No scaling, double effort, and at the end, less revenues. Easy.
Okay, we need just to close the panel. I will hope to have one or more, because there's been incredible discussions today. I really appreciate all your contributions. I hope that you have also enjoyed the panel. To me, I get a lot of good inputs, and I hope that the rest of you had also joined that. So join with me with an applause to all the panelists, and congratulating all of them for your contributions.